I'm author Drew Stepek. Welcome to Godless. Hi everybody, I'm author Drew Stepek, and I am the first featured author on Godless, because I own Godless. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself and kind of run you through my favorite things. I was born in Royal Oak, Michigan, and I moved around a lot as a kid. I moved to Iowa after Michigan, then back to Michigan to Rochester, then to Germantown, Tennessee, then to Wayzata, Minnesota, then to Severna Park, Maryland. I went to school in Winter Park, Florida at Rollins College, then I moved to LA in 1993. So I've been out here about 27 years. I suppose I'm best known for the Knuckle Supper series, which is Knuckle Supper, the sequel Knuckleballed, the forthcoming sequel, The Knuckler, and then the final book in the series will be called The Last Knuckle Supper.
5.
My number 5 favorite book of all time, horror book, is Falling Angel by William Yortzberg. It is the basis for the film Angel Heart, and it is a great book. It is really, really, really cool. The sequel's out. I haven't read it yet. Probably should. Number 4 favorite horror book of all time is The Drawing of the Three by Stephen King. I'm not a gigantic Stephen King fan, and I'm definitely not a gigantic fan of the Dark Tower series, but Drawing of the Three is such a good story. The Song of Kali by Dan Simmons. This is a really dark, gritty, grimy book. It is unlike anything else Dan Simmons really ever wrote, and it really, really, really kind of like reaches out to me and like really tears me up inside. That's why I fucking love this book.
2.
Is I Am Legend by Richard Matheson. Richard Matheson was one of the most prolific writers of the Twilight Zone, and he wrote like a couple really, really, really good works outside of that. You should read it, check it out, get into it. Don't be deterred by it, by the shitty movies they've made. They've made 3. They made one with Vincent Price, one with Charlton Heston, and then that complete fucking train wreck that was the Will Smith one. My number 1 all-time favorite horror book is The Great and Secret Show by Clive Barker. In my opinion, there's nothing that compares to it. From the first page into this book, you are completely drawn into the world in the Dead Letter Office. If you haven't read this book by Clive Barker, I strongly fucking recommend it. It is mind-blowingly good, and I think that you will also really love it. My honorable mention for horror books is The Dark Half by Stephen King. Once again, I'm not a huge Stephen King fan. I question a lot of the things he does in his stories. I think Alexis Machine is this great fucking villain character, and I think it's one of Stephen King's best, and it's really, really, really underrated. Jump on the hype train. What I'm reading right now, I'm reading Mother Maggot by Simon McCarty. I've barely gotten into it, but I've gotten into it enough to realize how fucking gross it is. Simon, good fucking job, dude. This thing is gnarly. You'll be hearing a lot from this guy. I describe my writing as gutter horror, grime horror, or crust horror. It's kind of a variation on gutter punk and splatterpunk kind of rolled together. And it's about all things that are about abuse and living on the street and, you know, grimy, dark, violent, splattery. Inspiration comes pretty easy for me because LA is like a really kind of dirty city, and it kind of lent itself to what Knuckle Supper and the Knuckle Supper series is about, which is almost all my writing has an element of sexual or mental or drug abuse in it. So this is kind of my opus. I'm currently working on a short novelette series called Fucking Scumbags Burn in Hell. I kind of wanted to take like elements of EC Comics and kind of serialize it and make one story tie to the next, but they're all stories within themselves. It's about fucking scumbags burning in hell. The first story is available right now at the launch of Godless, and it's called A Little Bit Country.
And it's free. 5.
Number 5 is The Cramps. The Cramps kind of created Psychobilly. I've seen him several times. One time I saw him open up for White Zombie back in the early 90s, and they totally blew White Zombie off stage because White Zombie sounded like shit. And then I saw him again open for Hank 3. If you like these weird, kind of 50s horror, kind of exploitation music bands, like Misfits, I suppose, you will also really dig the Crank. They're fucking cool beyond belief. Number 4. My number 4 favorite band of all time is the Chemical Brothers. I bought Exit Planet Dust, which was their first big album, as soon as it came out because there was a lot of buzz about it and a lot of people were talking about it. And it's just so killer. From the right in the opening sample, they've got that sample in the song Leave Home. It says, "Brother's gonna work, get out. The brother's gonna work, get out." And it repeats, and it just, you see that, and you'll see them live, and they open with that, and it just draws you in, and you're just ready to fucking party. My number 3 favorite band of all time is Ministry. I've seen Ministry more than any other band live. I've seen them everywhere and anywhere I could. I love them. I love their aggression, and I love what they did to music. Essentially, they took industrial music, which was a music that was 100% electronic and synthesizers and samplers, and they added guitar to it. So the first time that I heard that track on Land of Rape and Honey, which is Stigmata, I was just fucking got the chills. I'd never heard anything like it. It was this really heavy guitar, almost metal sound, and it had all these bizarre fucking surreal sound effects in it. And I still listen to it this day. I still get the chills, and I still love it. My favorite song, though, by Ministry is Thieves. Number 2. Anyone who's read any of my books knows that this is going to be on any of my music lists, and it's 7 Seconds. They're a punk band. They're based out of Nevada. They're kind of straight edge, but they don't really publicize that. But they're just this really aggressive, awesome punk rock band, and they are true to everything they sing about. Little known fact, they're one band that's actually made a cover of a song that's better than the original, and that's 99 Red Balloons by Nena. And my all-time favorite band of all time is Skinny Puppy. There's just no doubt about it. They are true to horror, they are true to industrial music, and they are just these amazing songwriters who don't really get noticed for how good they really are. Ogre is this insanely good poet, and Kevin Key and R.I.P. Dwayne Gotel put this really melodic, kind of strange music to his poetry. And they were one of the first bands to really implement distorted vocals into their music, put really cool horror samples in their music, and they're just great. And they put on the best live fucking show in the world. It's very theatric. It's just over the top, awesome, all horror movie related, and great. And lastly, my honorable mention for top favorite bands is Leftover Crack. Leftover Crack is a New York crust kind of punk band. They are kind of ska-y, and they are kind of a DIY band. If you haven't heard them, or if you've heard bad things about them because Stizza Crack, who's the lead singer, kind of does dumb shit things a lot of times, you should listen to them. I write to them pretty often. They're kind of the backbone for my work because it's really gutter punk, and it's got a lot of heart. You probably like it. A little known fact about me: I'm an obsessive compulsive walker. I walk a half marathon, which is 13.1 miles every single morning, bar none. I try and get up to 20 miles a day, but I recently got a sciatica in my back, which has been hurting my leg because I was writing chapters on my phone for books and walking at the same time for 4.5 hours a day. Fucking stupid. Because now I can only walk 15 miles a day.
5.
Number 5, horror movie of all time, It Follows. I know that's going to be a questionable decision, especially for someone who's into horror movies as much as I am, that I would pick something so recent. It Follows really nails what I like in horror movies. It's got this really dark sense of what's going on and this kind of overwhelming feeling of dread. I really like it. I like how atmospheric it is. I like how it kind of shows how Detroit is really kind of torn apart in a horror in itself. And I also really love the music because it's a total tip of the hat to old JC John Carpenter. Number 4 is JC John Carpenter, The Thing. The Thing is one of these movies that no matter when it's on, if it's on a cut channel or not, or wherever it's on, I will fucking turn it on because it is so awesome. And you know what's really great about it is that the practical effects that Carpenter used in this they still hold up today. And beyond that, that scene with the blood sample test, it gets me every time. I never know exactly when it's going to happen, but I know it's going to happen. And it ain't Windows. Number 3, favorite horror film of all time. Also JC, Jesus Christ John Carpenter. Halloween, 1978. Not the Rob Zombie version. Halloween is like the first real kind of slasher, and it involves like a slasher who's got like is unkillable. It's such a cool movie. The music in it is so fucking good, and the performances are really top notch. From Donald Pleasance to Jamie Lee Curtis, to even PJ Soles. It is just a great movie, and it was the highest grossing independent film overall for a really long time. And that says something about how rad it really is. It's a radical, awesome killer movie. Number 2 has been on my number 1 horror list for like the longest time. And it shouldn't surprise you that it's slipping to number 2 because I'll explain when I get to number 1. The Exorcist is the horror movie. There's never been a movie that compares to it. There's never been a movie that's that scary. There's never been a movie that fucking great, especially when it deals with the devil and being possessed. No possession movie comes close to it. No horror movie really comes close to it, in my opinion, because it's a magic moment in cinema. And everyone involved was fucking excellent. Scary as shit. The reason that this is number 1 now is because it is my favorite movie overall of all time. So I kind of had to put it into the horror category as number 1, even though Exorcist is technically my favorite horror movie. Angel Heart is my favorite movie of all time. It is an awesome movie. It is based on the book Falling Angel. It's just, they made so many decisions when they were making this movie to make it better than the book. And I know that a lot of people are going to find that a questionable thing for me to say, but it's true. Putting it in New Orleans, where all this voodoo is kind of like in the background and all around and everywhere during the movie, was an incredible decision. Mickey Rourke is my favorite actor, gross, but I think that you'll find that his performance in this, as well as everything else, is fantastic. De Niro's great, and Lisa Bonet is fucking amazing. A lot of people also don't know this, that Bill Cosby tried to shut this down because Lisa Bonet showed her tits in this movie. That fucking scumbag. It's why it got like an NC-17 rating. It was one of the very first NC-17 movies, and that's bullshit because it's incredible. It's a cut above everything else, and that's why it's my number 1 movie. My honorable mention for horror movies is a Serbian film, and I know a lot of people are going to disagree about that and say that it's just some gross fucking shocking movie. It's not true at all. This is such a cool movie, and it's a very unique movie, and it's almost a period piece in that it makes you feel like you're a part of this 70s freaking really gross snuff porn scene in Serbia. If you watched it and you were grossed out, you're like, I'll never watch that again. Give it a second look. I swear to you, it's really fucking good movie. It's well directed, it's well acted, and sure, that ending is fucking weird and gross, but deal with it. It's a great movie. I'm Drew Stepek, and I am the first featured author on Godless. Hope to see you around soon. I appreciate it.